XMMA 2 Saunders versus Nijem, 12 fights on the entire fight card. The main card is looking really solid. Cody Gibson and Luis Sanadakis in a bantamweight fight. Chris Curtis and Kenny Robinson in a welterweight fight. Will Brooks versus Steven Siler in a lightweight fight. Justin Scoggins versus Keith Richardson in a bantamweight fight. Kyle Bogniak and Marcus Brimage in a featherweight fight. And then Ben Saunders and Ramsey Nijem in a welterweight fight. The main event is probably going to be the closest fight on the fight card. Kyle Bogniak beat Magomed Sharipov, had an absolute banger of a fight with him. Marcus Brimage was, I believe, the first person inside of the UFC to fight Conor McGregor. You have a couple of other guys in this fight right here that fought inside the UFC. Will Brooks beat Michael Chandler, a top 5 lightweight fighter in the world, twice by knockout and by decision. Chris Curtis fought inside the PFL. Cody Gibson fought inside the UFC. So we have a lot of UFC, PFL, and Bellator veterans right here. One of which beat Michael Chandler twice. A couple of others who fought beat Conor McGregor. A lot of really good names inside of the UFC and Bellator and stuff like that are on this XMMA 2 fight card. So it's a really solid fight card with a lot of veterans. Kind of disappointed to not see the John Dodson-Cody Gibson fight, because I believe Dodson was in a car accident or something like that. It says right there. But overall, really solid fight card. We're only going to do predictions for the main card, so all of these fights are right here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights on the main card. So yeah, guys, let's get into the first fight on the fight card right here. This fight is in the bantamweight division. Cody Gibson and Luis Sanadakis in the bantamweight division. Luis Sanadakis, he is taking the fight on short notice. John Dodson was supposed to be taking the fight, but again, he got in that car accident, I believe, 2 weeks ago. So he's fighting Cody Gibson, a really good wrestler and grappler, on very short notice. It has been quite a while between both fighters' last fights. Cody Gibson has not fought in the last 3 years, and before that, 4 years. So only 2 fights in the last 4 years. Luis Sanadakis, only 2 fights in the last 2 years. His last fight was a year and a half ago. So these guys aren't very active in their bantamweight careers right there. Luis Sanadakis, 8 wins and 2 losses, 6 decision wins and 2 submission wins right there. He has decent striking, decent grappling as well. But in this fight with Cody Gibson and Luis Sanadakis, I think pretty much everywhere in the fight, in the striking, I think Cody Gibson will have the advantage. In the grappling, I still think he's going to have the advantage. In the wrestling, of course, Cody Gibson is going to have that advantage because that is his main way of winning, would be to wrestle, grapple, and ground and pound for the win. He has very good ground and pound. Lots of wins by ground and pound TKO and a couple of submission wins as well. So my prediction for this one with Cody Gibson and Luis Sanadakis is probably going to be Cody Gibson just pressuring Luis Sanadakis on the feet with a lot of volume and a lot of pressure, moving him backwards and then landing a double leg takedown or a single leg takedown, getting the fight down, ground and pounding, looking for some submissions, and most likely just dominating 3 straight rounds to a decision, wrestling and grappling. That's the main way I see him winning the fight. I do think there is a good chance we see a ground and pound TKO from Cody Gibson, or maybe a submission win for Cody Gibson, something like that. But I have a feeling the fight will be going all the way. My prediction is going to be a Cody Gibson domination in the grappling and wrestling with amazing ground and pound. I think it's going to be 3 straight rounds of utter domination. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 30-26 on this fight card as well. But overall, easy win for Cody Gibson right there in the wrestling and grappling game. So my prediction, 30-27, 30-27, and possibly a 30-26 unanimous decision winner right there for Cody Gibson in the bantamweight division. Chris Curtis and Kenny Robertson in the welterweight division. Chris Curtis, 34 years old. Kenny Robinson, 37 and a half years old right there. Very small reach advantage for Chris Curtis right there. But Kenny Robinson, three losses in a row right there. One of which 6 years ago, another 4.5 years ago, and then 1 loss 3 months ago by ground and pound TKO. He is very old, and he's going to have the reach disadvantage as well. And then you got Chris Curtis right here. The man's ground and pound, the man's wrestling, the man's submission game is way better than Kenny Robinson. You look way down here. 12 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, and 10 decision wins. If you're looking at how he's winning the fight by knockout, these 2 knockout wins right there are from ground and pound strikes. This knockout win right here in the 4th round from ground and pound strikes. Ground and pound knockout win, it says right there. Corner stoppage in the 4th round, and then 3 ground and pound knockout wins in a row. And Kenny Robinson in his last fight, I believe 3 months ago, got taken down, and he got ground and pound knocked out. So I think this is the easiest prediction on the entire fight card right here. I think Chris Curtis is going to go out there, get the takedown, and do what he always does. Get a lot of ground and pound, lots of elbows landing, lots of punches with his ground and pound as well. And I think we're going to see a finish in this welterweight fight. Chris Curtis is going to go out there, get a double leg takedown, single leg takedown, whatever the case may be, and ground and pound the heck out of Kenny Robinson right there. My prediction, a first round ground and pound TKO for Chris Curtis in the welterweight division right there. Will Brooks and Steven Seiler in the lightweight division. Again, I said at the beginning of this full card prediction, Will Brooks with 20 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. He's fought some really elite competition, but all of his professional MMA losses are to some pretty decent grapplers. Gleison Tibau by first round guillotine, Nick Lance by second round guillotine, Charles Oliveira, an amazing grappler by first round rear naked, Alex Oliveira right there, and then Syed Awad by first round knockout. So a lot of his losses to Charles Oliveira, Nick Lance, and then Gleison Tibau are to really solid grapplers. So I assume he's probably wanting this fight to stay on the feet, because four of his 5 wins are on the ground by submission or ground upon TKO. He needs this fight to stay on the feet. 5 knockout wins, 4 submissions, and 11 decision wins right there. Keep the fight on the feet. Keep the fight at range with a 3-inch reach advantage. Way better striking than Steven Seiler, knocking out Michael Chandler in the 4th round, beating Marcin Held by unanimous decision, beating Michael Chandler again, beating Syed Awad, Alexander Sarnavsky right there, beating Ross Pearson right there, Luis Firmino, Robert Watley, Rashid Magomedov in a draw. I mean, he's got a lot of really good wins. The striking, it's so clear how it's going to be a humongous advantage on the feet for Will Brooks right here. He might get a knockout, but he doesn't really have the style to go out there and get knockouts. So I assume Will Brooks is probably going to win the fight by a decision right here. But I wouldn't be too confident in that, because Steven Seiler, with 32 wins, 21 losses, and 1 draw, has a lot of experience and a really good submission game. 18 submissions, 6 knockout wins, and 8 decision wins right there, on a 4-fight losing streak to very good competition. But before that, guillotine choke in the 1st round, triangle choke in the 1st round, guillotine choke, rear naked in the 1st round. He's getting a lot of 1st round guillotines, rear naked, triangles, all those type of things, and that's where Will Brooks does worse. So of course Steven Seiler needs this fight to hit the ground and look for that submission in the 1st or 2nd round. That would be the main way Steven Seiler would win the fight. But I think Will Brooks will defend the takedowns, keep the fight on the feet, and he is way better striking. Maybe get a knockout, but most likely this fight's gonna go all the way. My prediction is gonna be a Will Brooks 30-27 unanimous decision right there. Should be a really good fight in the lightweight division right there. Justin Scoggins and Keith Richardson in the bantamweight division. The first thing I really have to look at is his UFC stats. He had a lot of fights inside the UFC. Started off with 2 straight wins, a first round knockout win, and a unanimous decision. Now, in that unanimous decision, he showed his own really good wrestling with 6 takedowns and 10 minutes of total control time. Showed some amazing wrestling in that fight right there. Fought Dustin Ortiz, showed some really good wrestling as well in that fight, getting 5 takedowns, and he split decision with Dustin Ortiz. Got 3 takedowns on John Moraga, dominated John Shampo on the ground and on the feet right there. Got 4 takedowns on Ray Borg. How much control time? 7 minutes of control time right there. And even his striking is good, because all of these wins right here inside the UFC, the main way he's winning the fights is because of his wrestling and grappling. But he also has amazing striking. You look right there, Pedro Munoz is an amazing striker inside of the UFC right now. He's about to fight Jose Aldo on UFC 266 or UFC 267, and it's going to be a really close striking fight. And Justin Scoggins outstruck Pedro Munoz. He outstruck him by double the amount of strikes, 44-28 on these significant strikes right there. He was doing really good. Beat him in the 1st round and was winning in the 2nd round. but he got guillotined in the second round right there. Absolutely crazy loss. But before that, I mean, he was doing amazing in the striking game against Pedro Munoz, who is a really, really good striker. So his striking is very, very legit, and his wrestling is also amazing with an 82% takedown defense and 3 takedowns average every single fight inside of the UFC. So this is another easy prediction for me. I mean, Justin Scoggins has better wrestling than Keith Richardson, has better striking than Keith Richardson, has a better clinch game than Keith Richardson. Pretty much everywhere you look at this fight, Justin Scoggins is the better fighter. Keith Richardson with 19 wins, 11 losses. Maybe he's the better grappler with 11 submission wins, but he's not the better wrestler, he's not the better striker. So even if Keith Richardson wants to go out there and get a submission, I really doubt he's going to get a takedown on Justin Scoggins, who has an 82% takedown defense. I really doubt that's going to happen. So I think the fight will stay on the feet, and in the striking game, Justin Scoggins will win, and probably will win the fight by a unanimous decision. So right here, Justin Scoggins defend the takedowns, keep the fight on the feet. So I think it's a very, very simple prediction because of that takedown defense and because it's striking. I mean, beating Pedro Munoz on the feet, that is very, very impressive. So my prediction right there, Justin Scoggins by a unanimous decision right there. Kyle Bochniak and Marcus Brimage in the featherweight division. The first thing I gotta say, Marcus Brimage fought Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor, that was his first fight inside the UFC. Kyle Bochniak went on short notice and fought Zabit Magomedsharipov. So these guys have fought some really legit competition in their careers so far, but Marcus Brimage is not doing too good. I mean, in his last 4 fights, got knocked out in the 3rd round, got knocked out in the 1st round, and then got 2 decision losses after that right there. And he has not fought in 5 straight years. I have no idea what he's been doing for the past 5 years, but 4 losses in a row, 2 of them being knockout losses. It's a little iffy right there. He's also going to have a 3-inch height disadvantage as well. He's going to have a slight age advantage as well. But right here, Kyle Bochniak is going to have a clear wrestling and grappling advantage because Marcus Brimage just goes out there and tries to get the knockout in the 1st or 2nd round. But Kyle Bochniak, even though he doesn't really have the best wrestling or grappling, he's going to have the advantage over Marcus Brimage right here. Marcus Brimage might have the power advantage and be more likely to get a knockout in the 1st or 2nd round, but Kyle Bochniak lands more volume and has better pressure and everything like that. So if the fight does go all the way, Kyle Bochniak will be landing more strikes. Marcus Brimage might be landing the more powerful strikes, but overall the judges will side towards Kyle Bochniak if the fight does go all the way. So if Marcus Brimage wants to win this fight, he needs a knockout in the very 1st round, because after that, Kyle Bochniak could use his better wrestling, better grappling, and win the fight that way, or just outstrike him on the feet just barely and win the decision. So Marcus Brimage needs a knockout right here, and I just don't feel confident that Marcus Brimage, after 5 years off his last fight, 5 years ago was his last professional MMA fight. I just don't feel confident in him coming back here, 36 years old, 5 years since his last fight, and getting another knockout. I just really doubt it. So my prediction right here is a very, very easy one. Kyle Bochniak going out there, using a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of grappling here and there, but overall outstriking him and defending the big power shots that Marcus Brimage will be going for in the fight. And overall, my prediction is going to be a Kyle Bochniak unanimous decision right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the featherweight division right there. Ben Saunders and Ramsey Nijem in the welterweight division. Both guys aren't really doing too good recently. Ben Saunders on a 4-fight losing streak to Matt Brown by ground pound TKO, Takashi Sato by ground pound TKO, Lyman Good by knockout, and then Sergio Moraes by arm triangle choke submission. He is also 38 years old right there, but he's gonna have a 2-inch height advantage and a 3.5-inch reach advantage right there. He also has some pretty good submission skills from the bottom, whether it's by triangle, rear naked, triangle, or maybe an armbar from the bottom as well. Good submissions from the bottom like that. But Ramsey Nijem, his wrestling is honestly pretty solid. I didn't think I would be really saying that his wrestling is really, really good, but it's very underrated, to be honest. Ramsey Nijem's I don't know if I'm spelling this correctly. Nijem. His wrestling is very, very underrated. Let's see right here. 5.32 takedowns every single fight. 62% accuracy. 6 takedowns on Andrew Holbrook. 2 takedowns on Diego Ferreira, a really, really good grappler. Got a takedown on Benil Dariush and knocked out Benil Dariush. 5 takedowns on Justin Edwards. 5 takedowns on Joe Proctor right there. And then 8 takedowns on Danny Downs. His wrestling is really, really solid. So in this fight, I think he's going to need to use some of that wrestling. Although Ben Saunders does have the submission threat from the bottom that he could use, I don't think he's going to get a submission from the bottom. I think Ramsey Nijem is going to go out there and use that wrestling. I mean, 5.32 takedowns every single fight. And I think he's going to use that wrestling, go out there and ground upon the heck out of Ben Saunders. The last couple of losses from Ben Saunders have been by ground upon TKO right there. Takashi Sato, ground upon TKO. Matt Brown, ground upon TKO. So he's not doing too good when it comes to getting taken down and going from submission from the bottom. He's just going out there like this, looking for the submission, and he's just eating strikes from the ground and pound. So I kind of think the same thing is gonna happen here. If I were Ben Saunders, I'd use that height, use that reach, keep the fight at range, and kickbox with the Randy Nijem for 3 straight rounds to a decision. But I just can't help but think that Ramsey Nijem will use his better wrestling and ground and pound and go out there and just ground and pound the heck out of Ben Saunders and maybe get a TKO, maybe get like a doctor stoppage, but most likely get a dominant unanimous decision. There's definitely a lot of ways for Ben Saunders to win the fight at range with the kickboxing, but I am going to be leaning towards the underdog in Ramsey Nijem right here. The tabloid predictions are favoring Ben Saunders right there, 58% to 42%. The betting odds are also very, very close, honestly. If we can find it right here, XMMA 2, the odds are minus 140 for Ben Saunders and then plus 110 for Ramsey Nijem. I'm going to go with the underdog. I think it's a very, very close fight. Could honestly go either way, but I think if Ramsey Nijem uses that wrestling and uses that grappling and ground and pound, then he's going to win the fight. So my prediction right there is going to be a Ramsey Nijem ground and pound TKO in the very first round. I'll go the second round. I'll go Ramsey Nijem by ground and pound TKO in the second round, but should be a really, really good fight in the welterweight division right there. But yeah, XMMA 2 Saunders versus Nijem full card prediction. If you guys missed any of my previous predictions for XMMA 2, I got Ramsey Nijem winning his fight by ground and pound TKO in the second round. Kyle Bochniak winning his fight in a decision. Justin Scoggins winning his fight in a decision. Will Brooks winning his fight in a decision. Chris Curtis getting a ground and pound TKO. And then Cody Gibson getting a decision win right there. Overall, very, very solid fight card, but that is my full card prediction. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that, and also put your predictions in the comment section below, because there's a lot of really good fights in the fight card right here. But whatever you guys have as your predictions for XMMA 2, make sure you guys put that in the comment section below right now. I would love to see what you guys think is going to happen for XMMA 2 right there. But thank you guys for watching. Like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.